The movie Equilibrium, made in 2002 with starring Christian Bale, is the perfect example of the North Node in Cancer. You can tell right by the plot summary, even just through this. It says, in a futuristic world, a regime has eliminated war by suppressing emotions. So that's what happens when you exist only in the south node of Cancer. That depicts what it's like to live in the south node of Cancer. Books, art, and music are strictly forbidden, and feeling cancer is a crime punishable by death. So we've set up an extreme scenario of practically pure Capricorn existence. Cleric John Preston, played by Christian Bale, is a top-ranking government agent, another archetype of the Capricorn, the government representative. He's responsible for destroying those who resist these rules. In other words, people who feel and show evidence of feeling. They call them sense offenders in the movie. When he personally misses a dose of prosium, which is a mind-altering drug that hinders emotion, which everybody in the society is taking except those who are sense offenders, Preston, the cleric, who has been trained to enforce strict laws of the new regime, which is what Capricorn does. They enforce society's rules, laws, suddenly becomes the one capable of overthrowing it. So he stops taking the drug and he starts feeling again. And he starts opening up into this world of emotion. And that's the moment when we start to move into the north node of in Cancer, away from the south node of Capricorn. In very in a very basic sense, this is we're moving from the suppression of emotion, the control of emotion, the irrelevance of emotion, because we need to do our duty in society, and into the opening up and allowing to feel, letting our hair down, taking our uniform off, taking all that binds us and constricts us off. Uh, but but it's even more interesting than this because there's much more to the nodes than that, than a movement from the south to the north. It's not as simple as that. And let me show you a clip. And I want to show you a clip from the movie that demonstrates that, that depicts that, clearly and simply. So listen to this. Let me pick
You know, I was like you.
just a second.
The first thing you learn about emotion is that it has its price.
All right.
Complete paradox.
Okay, let's start it over
It has its price. But the first thing,
right here.
you know, I was like you. But the first thing you learn about emotion is that it has its price. Complete paradox. But without restraint, without control, emotion is chaos.
Okay. The paradox, he used the word paradox. The paradox is the nodes. It's the paradox about how you need both. They seem opposed, just like the opposition that a node is in the chart. They seem opposed, but somehow they both exist as if a contradiction existed, which aren't supposed to exist. But it seems like they do, so we call it a paradox. Things like that sometimes, a paradox. So let's finish this. Emotions require restraint. We can't give ourselves completely to them. the difference being what we were coming from in Capricorn. He's saying, well, how is just totally feeling any different? How is what's the difference between completely controlling and completely giving in to the chaos of emotion? And the difference is that when you're able to control when it's time to feel, and that's the difference. Okay, then let's finish it.
Just some of us, some of us have to forego that luxury so that the rest can have it. Some very few of us have to force ourselves not to feel. Like me. Like you. What can I do? You can go father.
And he goes on to kill Father, which is the big brother figure, the figurehead of society who's exerting all of this control on everyone. Um, and and the other thing he says, there, some of us have to control ourselves completely and to allow other people to feel. And that's the role that Christian Bale had in the movie that for his whole life he was an enforcer. And I think what there's one of the things I sense from that is that it's a comment about how, some people in society plays roles where they don't have the luxury to feel so that other people can feel. It's the police, it's the government agents, and it's society's agents like the military and the police officer and the surgeon and I mean any role, any professional role, you really have to put your emotions to the side, and it's necessary to be able to do it. And everybody has to do that. And even the person with the North Node in Cancer has to learn the correct that that's still necessary, and they'd have to know when it's that they have to learn when it's necessary, and when it's necessary to let that down, usually in the private life, as another thing we associate with Cancer or the fourth house. Um, and what, and this is not just a movie. Uh, this is this is the story of the director's life because it's the reason this movie depicts the North Node in Cancer so well is because the director also has the North Node in Cancer. If you look here in it, we don't have the birth time, but if you look in the first house and the North Node symbol there, we have a North Node in Cancer. It will be in Cancer regardless of the birth time. What the birth time not having it disallows us is knowing what house it's in. We don't know what house it's in. We don't need to, but we see how important and prominent just the theme of the nodes is for the director, and it is prominent in at least two of his other movies that he had full control over in writing. He's a screenwriter. Kurt Wimmer is the name, and this shows that the same theme shows up in the movie uh, Law Abiding Citizen and The Beekeeper. Basically, just and Equilibrium. The thing that they all have in common is that some the, everybody in that movie, someone in the movie is victimized by the system, by society's laws and the way it operates. And all of them, upon being victimized, they end up taking the law back into their own hands and and uh, and fighting back. So they So in Equilibrium, he eventually goes and kills father. He kills the figurehead of the symbol of society itself. He ends up, and then at the end of the movie, everything's supposed to be hunky dory just because that happened, which is perhaps a little naive. At least that's what was my feeling about it. But as if it were that simple, the notion that we just need to kill a certain group of people or we need to kill an individual and everything's going to be fine, when really it probably has something more to do with human nature, which is what they were trying to suppress in the movie with the pill, human nature. You can think of the fourth, rather, cancer as human nature. That the way we work inside and the fact that we are emotional beings and how we all share that in common and part of that nature is a need to be able to be free to express what is inside of us, regardless of the constraints in society. It doesn't change what's natural inside. You can't change what's natural, what is natural. It's just given. And no matter what man-made structure is made in society, it's not going to erase that. And the tension between the societal constraints and human nature or the feelings within will forever be in tension. And we're always trying to find a way to make that work. And that's what somebody with the North Node in Cancer is trying to make work. And that's your great lesson in life that you will be learning your whole life and maintaining the balance of your whole life. Thank you.